Well, hey everyone, I am back again. Surprise, surprise. I have this week been working on patterns from the Knotted Lovies book, and I had a tough time picking which one I wanted to do first because even though I have like 1,000,000,000 pounds of yarn, I don't have the right colors. And sometimes I have colors that I can substitute and feel okay with how it is, but I just didn't have the right colors. So I'm going to show you what I came up with. And according to the pattern instructions on all of the patterns, you use a 7mm and an 8mm hook, but they're using the Premier Basics chenille, I believe is what the book says. And I can't use that hook size on some of these others. I will have like so many holes, it's not even funny. So like for the heads, I used the 6.5mm on most of them. And the bodies, I used a 7 on some and an 8 on some. Like the last one I did, I thought I picked up my 8mm hook, but it was the 7mm hook. And I was like halfway through the body before I realized, and then I was like, I'm not undoing it. We're just going to run with it. So my first choice was the goose, and I used Michael's Sweet Snuggles Light and Home Slim. So we got mustard and silver. And rather than using safety eyes, I stitched on like sleepy eyes. This one, it feels very lightweight. This one I used the 6.5 on the head and the 8, I believe, on the body. So I think this one might be my favorite out of the 4 that I made. So colors, again, colors limited me on which ones I was going to do. And when I'm making this, because, the silver is kind of a gray, that kid's song, The Old Gray Goose Just Ain't What It Used to Be, kept running through my head. I don't know why, but it did. I'm kind of weird like that. So I did the goose. And then the next one I did, again, using the Michael's yarn. So there's fluff everywhere. I did the frog, or the toad out of the book, but the frog. So this one turned out a whole lot shorter. Maybe because the goose has a long neck, but I'm pretty sure I may have picked up the 7mm hook on the body and didn't even realize it. But the frog was cute. On this one, I did do the safety eyes in the little eye things here because I wanted them to show up. But so I have the little frog. I mean, these seem kind of short to me. I never made them before, so I don't know how long that they should be. Well, this one's almost 16 inches. So, I mean, how big should they be? So, my next one I did after I picked up my Big Twist Posh. So I wanted to see, well, what would happen if I used that? And this one is, again, about 15.5, 16 inches. So, again, it was a color thing. Because at the time, I hadn't picked up my second batch of Big Twist Posh when I locked myself out of the house. I just had the blue, the gray, and that pale pink, I think, strawberry cream color. But I made the little hippo, and he turned out kind of small. But I used a 5.5 millimeter for the head, and then I don't remember if I used the 6 or the 7 millimeter on the body. I don't remember. I should write things down. So I think it was interesting, you know, the way the feet and the hands are done. So this feels really lightweight and squishy, you know, because the yarn has, in my opinion, the yarn has a lot of structure to it. It's still soft, but it bounces back into shape real quick when you do stuff like this. It's not floppy like the Parfait Chunky. So my last one, so we're going through this really fast. This is like going to be a really short video. So my last one that I did was the chick. But again, I didn't have colors. I mean, I have yellow in the Parfait Chunky, but I'm getting really low on it and I need it for something else. And I don't want to place another order right now. So I couldn't do it like yellow and orange the way the picture has. Now in the Premier Basics Chenille, I have yellow, but I don't have orange. And I thought the beak being in and the feet being in black might look a little weird, or I had a tan, but not enough. So that yarn was out. In the Michaels, I had no orange, no yellow, except for mustard. And I had already tested the Posh on the hippo, and I didn't want to do the chick in the Posh. The only thing left that I have is the Bernat. And maybe with using the bigger hooks, I could get away with the Bernat. But I only have scraps of yellow. And I'm not sure if I have orange. So it's just the whole color thing. So my chick is a psychedelic. She was tripping. And I used, I had it sitting out to bring it out here with me. I used the clearance yarn that I picked up at Hobby Lobby last year. So this little chick is very, very colorful. And I used mustard from the Michaels Home Slim. So here's my chick. Looks a little strange. These are so big, it's hard to get them up close so that you can see them. So my head, I thought when I was stitching on the neck part, it looks a little crooked. But if I wouldn't have used the safety eyes, if I would have stitched them on, that would have been fine. I would have been able to, you know, get them more straight. But a little crooked, and I added a little tuft of hair on the top. And yeah, so I'm not sure how I feel about this one. What I didn't realize is that this yarn here was a 7 weight. And this is a 6. I went down in hook size for the head. I used a 6.5 millimeter. I definitely could have gotten away with the 7. And then when I got to the body, I thought I picked up my 8 millimeter hook, but it was my 7 millimeter hook. And so again, I think it turned out a little bit short, but what do you do? I mean, even this, it's half double crochet. The stitch is nice and tight. That's why I think I definitely with this yarn could have got away with using the 7. and the 8 would have been no problem for the body. So, I mean, I love the colors in it. It just, for a chick, not sure how I feel. And the tail is so cute how they do the tail. I love how the tail is done. So I kind of stuck with the easier ones in my opinion. Some of the others that are more detailed, like the dinosaur and the unicorn, I want to have the right yarn because those will take more time, a lot more sewing. So I want to have the right colors, you know, that I want to use for them. I don't want to just have to settle on colors. It's like I even wanted to do the monkey, but unless I use Parfait Chunky, which I can, I'm just trying not to. I don't have the right colors for the monkey. In the Michaels, they have a brown, the Java, but it's really, really dark, and then a tan. Now I can do that. I used that on, I think it was supposed to be an otter, and somebody said it looked like a bear, but I used that Java on that. It's dark. It almost looks black, but it's just a dark brown. So they have the Java, and they have that, I'm not sure what the color name is on the tan. But when I look at the pictures in the book, see how big they look? And mine are really short. So I'm thinking it might have to be Bernat. And it would be a good way to use it up. The book says that the chick, that would be my psychedelic chick, should be 15 inches from the top of the head to the tip of the toe. Let's see how this one turned out. And it's about 16 inches. The goose should be about 16 inches, and my goose is definitely longer than 16 inches. So my goose is like 20 inches long. And the frog or toad should be 15 inches. I think I measured this one already. And it's right about 15 inches. The hippo is supposed to be 16 inches. And it's an inch shorter, and that's using the Big Twist Posh. So, I don't know. I like the size of the goose. But one thing I will say that I did notice, when you get to the bottom of the body and you're dividing it, you put a stitch marker in the middle so that you have 14 stitches on each side. Where my stitch ends up, I'm like, you know, the last stitch for that round, I'm like in the middle of one side of the body. So you do whatever the instructions say, 1 round, 2 rounds, 3 rounds, whatever it is. That side of the body, or the leg, always looks a little longer than the other side where you have to reattach the yarn. I almost feel like I need to do an extra round or work my stitches over to, like, say if my my last stitch of the previous round was in the middle, like 5 stitches in, just as an example, that I should attach it so that my tail is there to sew the hole closed. But if I should work over the 5 stitches and then start that as the beginning of my round so that they look a little more even. And then it kind of makes the feet look smaller. So like when you're doing the feet, and we'll use the frog as an example. When you're doing the feet, you might not end up like right on the edge. So if you lay it flat and you want to start in the corner, stitch it shut and then come back and do your little frog toes. I might be in the middle. Do you just start from there, and then when you tie your knot, work it out so that the feet come out flat? Or do you work your way over to the edge? You know, you flatten it out and then work your stitch over to the edge and then start where you stitch it shut and come back and do the little toes. So I have questions. And then yesterday I was kind of lacking in the Crojo. I lay down, took a long nap, and I wanted to make something. I just didn't know what I wanted to make. And I wanted to test out, play with the big twist posh some more. So this is what I did. I made this. It's supposed to be an otter. It's one of those free patterns off of Instagram. Then I tried one that's called an axolotl using the posh. And it was very, very tiny. And to me, it was not worth the time that it took to make those. And I'd show it to you, but Jenna took it. She thought it was so cute and she just ran off with it. So that makes me rethink, is it worth it? I mean, it comes out super small. I don't know that I could even put a $5 price tag on it because of how small it came out with the posh. The pattern is written for Bernat Blanket. But I find some of those patterns that are no-sew with that big yarn just ends up looking like a crocheted blob to me, like it doesn't have any form or anything. So for small things like that, I can't. I can't. But since she thought it was so cute and she wanted it and she took it, I'm like, well, should I make some? I just don't know. But anyways, this is my little otter. And like I said, it was free pattern on Instagram. So that's all I have today. I showed you and told you about everything yesterday. But if you don't have this book and you just want to make a gift for somebody, for your own kids, someone else's kids, or you do markets, I think this would be a good investment. I mean, it's like $20 on Amazon, I think. And this is a great book. It's just, I do have a few questions about some of the patterns. So I might have to ask them on Instagram and see if I get a reply. Because I do like them. And I would like to do the dragon and the unicorn and the dinosaur. But I got to get the right colors first. Definitely need the right colors. All right, you guys, I am going to let you go. It's getting toasty warm in here. It is chilly outside, so the heat, I know, it's Florida. The heat keeps kicking on, and I keep getting warm. Even though it's only set at 69, I feel like it's just toasty in here. So, yeah. At least I think it's still set at 69. One of these other peoples that live in my house could have changed the thermostat to make it warmer because they're always cold and I am not. So, all right, once again, I am going to let you go, and don't forget to get your copy. I think you will really enjoy those. And I will see you in the next video.